Hey guys, it's Sandro here, and today's video is a review and demonstration of Lake Country's newest machine polishing pad cleaner, the System 4000. Now, I'm going to take you through the basic setup and use of this pad washer, also discussing the pros and cons of the unit. But my real focus with this video will be trying to share with you guys what I've learnt about it in relation to proper technique, really pushing the fact that there's a right and wrong way of using it. And there's some really massive factors that will influence the experience you have with this unit, or really most pad washers in general. I also want to be clear that this is just my own tips and recommendations with using this pad washer that may or may not be in line with what Lake Country recommends, as I try to make videos based on my own personal experience rather than just regurgitating what you can already find on the manufacturer's website. So to start with, my first tip is using warm water to fill the reservoir, as I've personally found that it helps open up the cells of foam pads and expand the fibers in microfiber and wool pads, allowing for easier and quicker residue removal, meaning that you don't have to be as aggressive and spend as much time on each pad. But don't use boiling water, as it's too hot and it will lead to increased wear and damage of the unit as well as your pads. But 50 to 60 degree water, in my experience, works a treat. And you'll also find that when you put the top on the unit, it stays warm for a good hour or two. Now, I actually really like the Lake Country Snappy Clean Boost, as its consistency, ease of use and performance is fantastic in my experience. But at almost $5 a pop here locally, I think it's just unjustifiably expensive. So you can use an all-purpose cleaner instead, but be sure to highly dilute it. I'm talking 1:30 or 1:40 or even 1:50 dilution ratios, depending on the specific all-purpose cleaner you use. Or else you're going to have some crazy amount of foam and increased residue that's hard to rinse out. So before I get into more specific technique recommendations, the basic way this pad washer works, like many other pad washers, is to attach your dirty pads to the same sized corresponding backing plate and machine polisher, set it to a lower machine speed, pump some solution into the pad, turn the machine on and run it over the center plate section and grooves for about 15 seconds or so, then slightly raise the machine and turn it to a high speed to flush the liquid out of the pad. So that's pretty much the basic technique. I guess some things to point out here is that just like hand washing pads, the dirtier, older and more stubborn the pad is to start with, the more work or cleaning attempts it's going to take to get a good result. So in many cases, you may have to repeat this basic process 2 or even 3 times, and sometimes even just accept that certain stains and grime on the pad may not entirely come out. One thing I can tell you guys is that the quicker you get to cleaning your pads out, the easier it will be. Whereas if you let your dirty pads sit for days and weeks, they're always harder to clean and even become more brittle and deteriorate quicker over time. I tried to use a variety of different pads in this video, some that were quite dirty and caked up with residue that were left to sit for weeks, while others weren't too bad and cleaned within a day or two, to try and display that this is going to largely impact the results you can achieve. So in trying to explain what good and proper technique is in using this pad washer, I'm going to firstly show you what bad technique is and what will eventually happen with misuse. So firstly, don't use high machine speeds. Speeds 1 and 2 will be more than enough on almost any car polisher. Secondly, don't oversaturate your pad. 1 or 2 good pumps is more than enough cleaning liquid. Thirdly, don't use heavy pressure when running the pad over the cleaning plates, and don't continuously keep pumping water into the pad. Fourthly, don't continuously run the machine for more than 15 to 20 seconds at most at a time. And lastly, only very slightly raise the pad from the pad washer base before increasing the speed to dry it out. Why? Because you will hopefully see in the footage that you will start to destroy your pads, get increased water all over your electrical polisher, which is never good, and make a real mess around you. I'm not in any way saying that this is what's going to happen, as if you employ good technique, it's hugely avoidable. But just like good car detailing versus bad car detailing, it all comes down to technique. And all I wanted to show you here is that if you jump onto this pad washer cowboy style, you certainly can do some damage and create one heck of a mess. So then, what is good technique and method? There's a few things I want to go through here, including specific machines, but let's start with good basic technique, which honestly is pretty much the opposite of what you just saw. So firstly, keep your machine speed down and understand that even at the lower end, your polisher is spinning and or oscillating at speeds that are more than enough for this process. Secondly, just use 1 or 2 pumps to wet the pad, as the System 4000 has a great efficient water solution delivery, and overly saturating the pad will make it too heavy and massively increase its aggression to destructive proportions. Thirdly, just your resting arm pressure is more than enough to get the cleaning done safely and effectively. It's not pressure that cleans the pad, it's the cleaning solution going into the center of the pad and then being expelled out the edges along with the residue. Increased pressure will only lead to wear and tear of the pads. Fourthly, try to understand that doing multiple light cleaning cycles is not only more effective but also safer for the pads. So rather than trying to aggressively clean a dirty pad in one go, lightly repeating the process 2 or 3 times will be safer and more effective. So don't do long, extended and aggressive cleaning cycles. Now, one thing I think that has been largely overlooked with this and many other pad washers is the specific car polishing machine you use and the dramatic effect it will have on the whole process. I'm going to start here by saying that a single action rotary polisher with an extension bar is by far the safest, most efficient and overall best machine you can use with this pad washer in my opinion. So firstly, understand that no matter how good your technique is, you're going to get some amount of water onto the machine, which isn't good for obvious reasons. But using an extension bar on a rotary can position the polisher further away, largely avoiding any splashback on the electrical components. Secondly, with the use of a multi-size pad conversion plate, you can use the same machine quickly to swap between large, medium and smaller pads super quickly. Thirdly, the single action of a rotary polisher is less aggressive in this pad cleaning process, meaning it's less likely to damage a pad, less likely to splash water over the machine, and it also allows you to slightly angle the pads to clean up the outer edges a little better. My advice here, guys, is that if you are a pad washer fan, go through a lot of pads and want a safe, effective and clean process here, a rotary polisher with an extension bar and Velcro interchangeable size backing plates is a fantastic way to go. My second choice for a machine would actually be a smaller 3 to 9mm throw DA polisher or even a force rotation gear driven DA, as those smaller orbital throws will tend to be safer and less messy to work with. My third option would be a more standard 12 to 15mm large throw DA that I wouldn't necessarily recommend but should still be okay. My fourth and final option would be the largest 21mm throw DA polisher that I honestly just don't recommend here, because that larger throw is just overly aggressive and just so messy to work with that just isn't the best way to go in my opinion. Overall guys, I like this pad washer, and I'm pretty confident in saying that if you are after a machine pad washer, it's really the best unit on the market today. I also have the previous Lake Country System 3000 pad washer, and the main difference I can see is that they took away those top closing flaps, which I honestly never liked, and they upgraded the top water catch spin drying section, which is also a great improvement. The fit and finish also seems a little better, including the new carry handle, and the water pump itself seems to be a little more responsive and effective. The only thing I would complain about is the lack of some sort of rubber feet or base to stop the unit from vibrating, moving or spinning when in use. but I guess a rubber non-slip mat on the ground solves that issue. If you enjoyed this video and would like to say thanks and help support future content, you can do so by buying me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/ccad, which I'll have a link to in the description box, and thank you everyone for the support so far. As always, I really hope you guys enjoyed and found this video useful. Please share it, like, comment, and subscribe to this channel to show your support for this content, and I'll see you guys soon.